So when somebody leaves you, it's a narcissistic wound. Even if you're a healthy person, when somebody leaves you, it damages you for a moment. If you're resilient, it's I don't want to say it's short term, but it is a narcissistic wound. It's a ding right in your ego. But if you're a healthy enough person with enough emotional security, you have the shock absorbers to be able to kind of contain that and not leak onto your children. But many, many people are walking around today very fragile themselves. And when they're left, when they feel, and even if you're the one who's doing the leaving, it doesn't matter whether you leave or are left. I mean, of course it matters because the person who's actually left feels more damaged. But the truth is that even the person who leaves feels left because in some way there's a dynamic that led up to that. So the person who did the leaving says, well, I left because you ignored me, or I left because you were having affairs, or I left because, I don't know, you were mean to me. So they feel left too. So everybody feels left and abandoned and narcissistically wounded, right? The key is to get help. Because if you don't get enough help with that, if you don't have some place to go with that hurt, with that pain, with that ding to your ego, if you don't have a good therapist, if you don't have a good support system, you end up oversharing your pain with your children. It's very common that parents will say, well, your father cheated on me with 100 women, or your mother, she was a witch and she did this, and and again, the idea that sharing that pain with your children means that leaving of you damaged something so elemental, so fundamental in you as an adult. You need help. So self-awareness, as you were saying, aren't people aware they're doing this? And the answer is no. So generally, I will say that parents don't intentionally want to damage their children. They do it unintentionally and unconsciously. And in a world that doesn't talk about things like the unconscious anymore, because CBT therapy and DBT doesn't want to talk about the unconscious, but our unconscious rules us. And if we're not aware of what we feel very deeply inside, not on the surface, but very deeply, and what it's triggered in us from our childhood, from earlier traumas and losses and hurts. Because what happens with divorce is, in a fragile person, it opens up wounds from earlier losses, right? Whether that loss was your parents' own divorce, or abuse, or being left when you were little, or neglect, or a narcissistic parent. It could be something more nuanced, like having a parent there, but they were not there, kind of thing. But what it does is it opens up an old wound. Right. And so once opened, those parents cease to be functional as parents. And so the only way that they are going to pull themselves together, again, it may not be at all intentional. But what comes through is earlier trauma. And then the children have to share that with you.
It's so interesting. I think I'm going to ask a question. I think we're going to get to the same place with the same result. That if the father of the divorce couple, the father is constantly doing things to either make life difficult for the mother, alienate the mother, just make it unpleasant. And the child is aware of it. He's watching
children are
the way the
aware of
father's
everything.
behaving.
Yes. Children are aware of everything. They're aware of everything from the moment they're conscious. And so that means infants are aware of everything. So this idea that, the children didn't hear me, or, the children aren't picking up on. No, children understand much more than you do. They're much more emotionally attuned than you are. In the Torah, there's a story of how when we're born, we have all the wisdom of the world. And an angel, yes, Jews do believe, and angels touch you right here, this little part of your lip right here. They touch you here, they give you this little crease here, and you forget it all, only to have to learn it again. But the concept is, when you're born, you're much closer to emotional wisdom than as you age.
Wow.
And so the concept being that yes, children are aware of much more than adults are aware of. So they see everything, They're all knowing, all seeing, all hearing. Okay. You cannot hide from your children, which is, the other thing I want to say is, not everybody can afford therapy. Not everybody believes in therapy. Okay, so there's another solution, which is go to a pastoral counselor, go to your minister, go to your priest, go to your rabbi on a regular basis. Seek soothing. Seek soothing in your distress. If you can't afford therapy or can't find a therapist, seek a pastoral counselor. Seek someone who's going to comfort you, who's going to help you through this trauma. It is a trauma to divorce. So in my book, I talk about how, the old research with a woman named Judith Wallerstein was that all divorce is bad for children and all children are damaged from divorce. Now, the truth is that all children do suffer trauma from divorce, but you can mitigate a lot of that trauma if you divorce in a healthy way. The other thing that we know from the current research is that intractable conflict where parents hate each other and live together is far worse for children than if their parents divorce in a healthy and amicable way.
Could you go over that, be a little bit more specific?
So it is far better for children to live in two different peaceful and harmonious homes where parents are amicably co-parenting than it is to live with two parents who hate each other and fight all the time with no resolution. So the thing is that conflict is part of living in a family. And in fact, you don't want to hide all conflict from your children. You want to be appropriate with the conflict. You want to be able to put your disagreements into words and then have what we call an arc of resolution. So they see you fight, but they also see you make up.
Okay.
The problem is not fighting for children. The problem is, obviously, the intensity and degree of fighting, as long as you're not screaming or hitting each other. But if you're disagreeing, that's not a problem for children, as long as they see the resolution and the compromise. In many families, there's no resolution, there's no compromise, and there's hostility. And when children have to live in intractable hostility, it's very, very bad for them, very stressful.